Okay, in this video, uh, I'm gonna go and talk to you about how you can break apart a bot design uh, at the node level. So there are a lot of people and they are buying designs and then they want to go and make adjustments, changing colors and those kind of things, and adding two designs together, or adding some extra text to it. So, and they want to break apart some of the pieces on the original design. Well, uh, it is all possible, but it can be a little bit of a tedious job. And when you're bringing in your bot design, you can, as soon as it will get into Inkscape, you will see where all these scissors are. So that are trim commands. You can go and delete those trim commands if you so desire. You can, it's hard to say where do I start and where do I finish, but I do have a number of designs here. They were all free, available online. Here too, you can see there are a number of trim commands. This one has got also a number of trim commands on there, but yet it shows out continuous. Then here is one. They were all the same color objects also. I went and I changed a few of the colorings already, just to show, hey, what can be done in a hurry. But we'll go through a few of these designs and I'll give you a little more info on how you can break it apart. So if I'm selecting this design, then in order to find out what is the kind of going on, and as you can see, I have here color block 1, color block 1. That is how a design will come into Inkscape. Everything is inside a group. And inside that group, you can have, that is where all your objects are. So familiarize yourself with these objects. What is what? And there you can see I have here one object selected. It is really hard to see what is that object exactly. So then what we do is we turn off the visibility and we can see that is one object and that is two circles together. So if you so desire, you can, just like that, also give it a different stroke color. And there you can see now I have that instantly changed into a different color. Then I can go to my next one and I can do the same thing and give it a different color, and instantly the color has changed. So, and now I can drag it out of the way if I don't want it. Then I can drag it out of the way, and for that matter go and delete it. But I'm gonna leave it here for now. Also, a design like this, or a part of a design like this, if you want to break this further apart, then you have to get to know on how does it show out. So then we go to extension, ink stitch, and we go to the visualize and export. Go to the simulator And there we can see on where it starts and where it finishes. That is right around in this bottom corner where they are intersecting. But let's say we only want to have one circle and we don't want to have the other circle. So how do we go about that? Well, it really depends from object to object on how we split it apart. It can be as easy as 1, 2, 3, but it can be really tedious also. And I will show you a few things on where it can be tedious. So then what I do is I go to the node select tool, and when we're zooming out, we will see there are a lot of nodes. So in order to see what stitch is where, we would have to zoom in. But we also have some help what we can use. And most of the time when working with these kind of objects, the easiest is that we are starting with the last node. And to find the last node, if you're pressing the tab key, so you can see that here in the bottom corner, the tab key, and then press the tab key. First press the tab key, then press the shift tab. The tab key that will select your first node of the design. But because most of the time that node, the first node, is hidden underneath another node, it will not be visible. So that is why we go to the last node of the design. And the last node of the design, that should be then showing up as a blue node, unless you have changed the settings. It can be a different color depending on if you have a sheet made up for that. But so that is the last one. Now what I will do is I will put my mouse pointer on there, and I will use the roller mouse, and as you can see, there are more and more nodes are getting blue, and that is because it is now selecting the nodes along the path. So you got to be careful with what buttons you push, because if you make one wrong move, and you can completely lose your whole selection. So that can be annoying also. But as you can see, now I'm just going with the roller mouse, and I just keep, I'll see if I can keep it as good as possible in the screen, the whole design. Quite often you will have to go and zoom into certain areas, but I'm still holding my mouse on that first or that last node of the design, and as you can see, now I'm starting to fill in those last few, and it doesn't really matter that I'm not on the very last one. And now I'm almost at the beginning here, that it is, and I think I do have them all right now. So like I say, it can be tedious. But now that I have them selected, then, and be careful where you're placing your mouse, because you can just look at that and you can lose your whole selection and you need to start all over again. So then I put my mouse on top of one of the nodes and then go cut, and as you can see, now I have cut that part out. And let me go beside here, or a little bit underneath in an empty space, and then I go right click and I do paste. And now you can see there I have one full circle of the design, and it is separated from the other one. So now I can, as you can see, it still sees it as one object. So then what I need to do is, and because it is all strokes, we can easily use the path break apart aspect. So now, as you can see, if I'm clicking on this one, the nodes on this one are showing up, but not on this one. So now they are two separate objects. Now I can go and give this one a different color if I so desire. So, and all we need to do is give it a stroke color. And there you can see, now I have changed the color on this object of the design. We may have to go back in for a moment to check on the remaining if that is going to be used again. You may need a slight cleanup, and it appears this node is not needed. So we can go and either drag it over or create even an extra node and use it as a lock stitch, and then place a few nodes inside, and there you have your lock stitch and everything should be hunky-dory. Or you can go and check out a few more nodes and see what is what. If there are still too many that you say, hey, I don't like how many are bunching up over there, so I like to delete a few, then you can go and delete a few here. But this looks like a lock stitch, and I'm gonna delete these three, and there you can see that has been tidied up. So that is how you can split some pieces apart, or most pieces. And then in order to what you can do, instead of breaking all of these other ones apart, you can just go and use these, and then use the select button and just go and make a duplicate, and then use your single one and place that on top of the originals, and then go and delete your originals out of there. So you only need to separate out one part, and all the other objects, they show fairly easily in your layers and objects panel as separate objects, and you can change the colors on them. Okay, so that is that design. Let me see here. I think I should go and delete that one, because I want to show also another one yet, or a few other aspects of, and the same aspect really counts by selecting your nodes. Here too again, What I always like to do too is first go to the extensions, Inkstitch commands, and we go to the view, and we go and show and hide the object commands, or if you so desire, if you want to delete them, that can also be done. Extension, Inkstitch. Now I gotta think for a moment. Troubleshoot and remove embroidery settings. And there you have an option on remove all the params, or so there you can set a number of things, and or you can go and remove the commands. So you can select here if you want to have specific commands removed. Then you would go into the remove embroidery settings, and then you can select which ones you want to remove. But with a bot design, you would only get the trim thread showing after this object. So that would be then the only selection you would select, and then go and apply. So now here too, when we go into this design, there we can see there are 4 color blocks. There is the light blue, dark blue, the green of the leaves, and let's see here. Well, let's go and run this through the simulator. Extension, Inkstitch, visualize simulator. So there you can see the green was done first. May have to slow it down. So that is the blue. So if you want to change the blues, as you can see, all the blues, you can see from this point where the darker blue starts to all the way to the end, there are no jumps and trims in between. So all that is all sewn out continuous. So if you want, for instance, and you want to change the 1/2 with a different color, well, then that needs to be broken apart. So we'll go and do that on this design. But here we can see now we have all separate pieces. So those are really easy to go and change around in color. So let's go and focus now on this dark blue for a moment. See how you can do that. There, the same. Also, since it is in a group, sometimes we have to double click the object in order to enter the group, or you can go and right click on it and enter the group. Color block number 4 is this. So then we go to the node select. The node select. Now we have the same thing again, and we see a lot of these nodes, and we can't recall where we started or where we ended. So we press the tab key and then hold down the shift key and then the tab again, and then we may have to zoom out for a moment in order to find our dark blue node, because that is the last node of the design. So, and as you can see, that node is right on top again. So now we go again. We can use the control key, hold down the control key, and now we use the roller wheel again. And sometimes what will happen is you don't really see any nodes turning blue. Well, the reason being there are nodes on top, and there, because the so, excuse me, there are two nodes on top of each other over here. So it is doing the top node first, and then it starts going through the bottom node. And there you can see I have there the one curve selected. Now I go cut, and there you can see there were still more, so edit, undo. Let me see here. Now I have to keep focus here too on that I'm pressing the right buttons. So now we're starting again. And keep on scrolling until you see that, as you can see, now there were two nodes what started showing up over here, and we don't want those. So then what we do is we can zoom in and then use the shift key to deselect that node and deselect that node. And then we can go again, and now we should be okay for doing a cut. As you can see, there I made a cut now, and I'll go and paste it here. Oh, select it and drag it out of the way. Now I'm gonna go back in here again. Now I want to go and select this piece out of here. Now I'm just gonna go and select a random node, and then what we will see is we will see that nodes are being highlighted in either direction, because I am not on an end node. And what I have found in often cases that I need to go move the mouse to a different node, and so be careful with the roller wheel, because I'm still keep on rolling with the roller wheel till I get them all selected, and I'm still doing the roller wheel, and it looks like I have them all selected right now, because now I can see that over here there are extra nodes what are being selected now, and I do not want those. So then I'm going with the shift key, deselecting those nodes. Now I'm holding my mouse on one of the other ones, on the selected ones, and I go again. I go cut, and I'll go and paste it here and select, drag it a little bit further out of the way. So there you can see, there we have those two pieces separated, And now, as you can see, this heart shape is still part of the whole design. So then what we do is we will go again, path, break apart, because there is no connection in between the two, so then we can use the break apart. And now, as you can see, now I have this design selected, or this part, and I can give that a different color. And all we need to do is change the stroke color. As you can see, now I have turned that orange. So now we can use, now we have basically, we have all the objects for the rest of the design. For over here, over there, over here, and these curved lines, we have here these two, so then it is easier to go and start working with these and place them back into a location. So, but we want to get rid of the rest of it, but we still want to keep the center part. So how can we do that? Well, to a certain point similar, but when we do the selection again, we getting so many nodes on how do we select now these nodes, but still we want to keep the inside. Well, there is a way too. If we holding the Alt key, then we can go and drag a line around most of them. And now, so now I was first holding only the Alt key, but now I'm holding the Shift and the Alt, and I will go and add to the selection. And still holding Shift and Alt, and I'm dragging around these. But now we still need to clean up a little bit. So now we can go and we can zoom in, and still we can hold Shift, or let me see here, let's go with the Control key, and I'm going here to the Control key, and now my okay, that is the undersewing there, so I don't want that one. So you need to be aware that you really need to zoom in sometimes in order to see exactly where you're at. Then make sure somehow okay, and then I'm holding Shift Alt again, because here are two nodes on top of each other, so then it is easier to use the Shift and Alt to select them, because otherwise what will happen is you will only select the top node and not the bottom node. So now we zoom out again, and I think I have all the ones I want selected in that point. Then we do the same thing here. We can go use here the Control key and selecting a few more nodes, and be careful with the roller mouse that we are not starting to select too many. and there are a few extra. So here again I'll use the Shift and Alt. Now I'll go and zoom in again and deselect. Oh, as you can see, I made one wrong. I used the wrong button and instantly I lost my whole selection. So I guess the only option I have, that is go back to the Alt key and make my selection. It did not make a nice selection, but I'll deal with that in a moment. I'm going back to the Shift Alt again and start drawing around again. I may not go and clean this one up completely, because otherwise it might get too tedious on this one. And because I didn't have it all the way in the screen, it did not select the nodes all properly, so I'll do it in a few pieces. And as you can see, I have a few extra nodes selected here, so would have to zoom in. Oh, now I'm doing the same thing again, pushing the wrong button. My focus is, like I said before, you really have to focus on which button is being pushed here in order to get the best selection. So I'm going back, zoom out a little bit more, and then hold down the Alt key and the Shift key, and I'm going all the way around the outside. And since I don't need any of these anymore, then what I can do is and instantly go and delete all of them. And there you can see, now I got rid of all of those instantly. And now I can go, for that matter, and tidy up on what I have left here. And so that can be, you can take a rectangular box around it and instantly delete them if you so desire. So there are a few different ways on how you can deal with it, but that way you can clean up. And there too again, clean up a few nodes. May still need a few more steps of tidying up. This one looks tidy, and here a few, and holding down the Shift key, then you can add more to it by dragging a box, and then delete them also. So now we can check, did we break certain paths or not? Then we can go path, break apart. So the path is selected, and path, break apart. And as you can see, the path did not break apart whatsoever. So now this whole object is as one object and should still show out continuous. Inkstitch Visualize Simulator. There you can see that sewed out all continues. And so yeah, as you can see here on the end, it still may need a few more nodes to be cleaned up to get a nice pathing going, but that is just minor detail then. I just want to show you the main aspect of how you can break apart design at node level. So then I have one other design. Well, this design also, this is straightforward. I'll show you in the let's go through the simulator here for a moment. This one is really simple to change. Inkstage, visualize and export simulator. And there we can see there are some jumps here. Well, let's figure out where do these jumps come from. So that is the shaped object. That is a shaped object. And that is a separated shaped object. And that is a separate shaped object. But here we see it goes instantly. There is no jump. It goes from the star straight into the filled object. So how can we separate that out? Well, that is really simple. We can see that spot quite easy. We go to the node select and we go here to where the connection is. We can go put a mouse on a line segment between two nodes, and you can see the next node is over here, so that would be the stitch length. We can go and delete the segment. So now we delete the segment, and then again we go extension, path, break apart. And now I'm not sure if it did break it apart. Path, break apart. Okay, now it is broken apart. So just be aware that it gets broken apart, because otherwise it is still being recognized as the same. There you can see this is one object. We can change the color on it. That is as one object. We can change the color on it. This is one object. We can change the color. And that one is as one. So there you can see, now we can change everything. I put a fill. Should not be a fill at any time with a pre-digitized design, because all we deal with is line objects. But there you can see, now we have everything is separated and everything can be changed in color. Okay, so that was that design. So that was really simple. As you can see, some of these designs, they are really simple. Also, if you so desire, you can also go and make different connections. So if you're finding on this one, you can press the tab key and find out. So there is the first, that is the starting point of that design. So I drag that node out of there, and I can, for that matter, I can create here an extra node, split at node. And I can go and drag this node out and then hold down the shift key, select that one, drag this one, and I can join those together. Those two nodes are now joined together, and then go path, break apart, because this part is, as you can see, that is now a separate part, and I can change the color on that part. So there you can see there are many options available on how you can work with these designs. So then I'm gonna go here to one more design. I'm gonna go and delete this, because this design, this design is all straightforward too. That is also, as you can see, there are small connections in between the two. So that is a matter of splitting off or deleting a segment if you so desire. And otherwise the same thing again, going with the nodes. Here you can see too, when these are selected, there is one running path going over to the next piece. So here all we need to do is Shift Alt, and we can go and select here a bunch of the nodes but are not needed anymore, and we can go delete the nodes, but then we get a straight line. So there is a segment what needs to be deleted, and we delete the segment, then path, break apart, and now we can see we have this section is separated out of there. I'm gonna go and give it a different color here, so now you can see what has just been changed. So that way you can work really quick with certain pieces. As you can see, the light blue here also, that is also connected, so they're the same thing. Draw with a Shift Alt, and we draw around some of the nodes, and we can go delete them, then it becomes a straight path, and then delete the segment, and now they are separated. Path, break apart, and now we have separate objects. There, same thing, we can change the color. There, that is still all is one color like this, where the nodes are selected, and that one we can change now also. So that is how you can start playing around with a pre-digitized design what comes in as a stitch file. Let me see here. I had in mind to go through one more. That one was a little bit tedious. Delete. And that is why I'm saving that one for last. This one we went through and delete. And let me see, I don't need this one anymore because I have that one over here. So this design is made up in different parts and pieces, and it can be tedious. And there too again, so what I got sitting here beside, that is all the pieces are pulled apart in different objects. As you can see, there are many parts and pieces, and then we can use the original design for putting it back together. So what you best off to do is make a duplicate of your original design and keep that out of the way for safekeeping. Then what you want to do is you want to zoom in to your whole design, because if you're running this one, I gotta make sure I'm selecting the whole design, otherwise it will not show in the simulator. And we go extension ink stitch simulator, and there we can see everything stitches out without a problem. It says there are some jumps and there are some significant jumps, but some of these jumps, they are so small they still, it seems to be showing continues there. So if a jump is within a certain distance, it still shows out continues without, but it depends too on with which software it has been created and whatnot. So in order to break this design apart, so yeah, we have to play with it to find out what's going on. So since it is in a group, then we're looking inside the group. Let me see which group. That's the one. We can go inside the group, or we can go and start. What I like using quite often is just use the node select tool, and we can see quite easy, hey, if we're clicking something on what object is selected. Is it a separate object? Is it connected to something? So here in the center, I see that is the center heart, and that is a separate object. Let's go and select it, and we grab it out of the way. So there you can see, now we have one object that is separated already. Then we'll just go to the next, and there again we have to go and use the node select tool to see the best on what we are selecting. As you can see, that is a separate object also. So we go to the select tool, and then we have to watch our mouse pointer, and as you can see, we can drag that whole piece out of the way. Let's see. Okay. So that was a separate piece. Now we just continue and see what happens. There we see that is a connected piece, and we can take that out of there. That is a separate object, and have to be careful that because we are inside the group, and then and there we see the same thing. That is a separate object, and that is a separate object. That is a separate object. And there is a separate object. So that is why it can be handy to have right away a copy, and then you can place this back onto your copy. Then what I would do is take this object, change the color on it, and if you change the colors on them, that way it becomes afterwards easier to select and make decisions on which colors you're using for certain objects. Since this is the whole heart shape filled with hearts, you could go and use one color for these objects, and for another object you could go and use another color, and then you can just go and and now I can place this one. It might be even handy to have snapping turned on, but maybe not necessary. But you may have to zoom in fairly close to line up everything properly again. So that is how you can. I didn't put them right away back in place, but that's not why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video in order to show how you can break your design completely apart. So, but now we go to the node select, and we see that all of this is connected. Well, that gives a little bit of an issue in order to break this apart. So we have to go with the node select tool again. So we press the tab key, and I do not see anywhere a blue dot, so it probably is hiding underneath somewhere. So now I'm pressing the shift tab again, and there we can see we have right away, we have the blue node is on top again. And now too, we don't know exactly how the pathing is. So in order to be careful and wanting to make sure that, oh, I made a mistake, because I'm just going with the roller wheel, and that was the final node. But I'll show you for a moment. Now that I'm zooming in, and if I don't use the shift or the control key, now it is just selecting the closest node to the last selected, something along that line. I haven't perfectly figured it out, but this is not the way we want to go and select our object. So just to make sure that I'm starting at my proper node. So now that is the last stitch what is being made, and now I'm holding down the control key again, and as you can see, now holding down the control key, and I'm gonna zoom out here for a moment, and holding down the control key again, and so I'm just gonna go, and this is gonna take a little bit of time to select it, and just with the roller wheel. And now I'm zooming out a little further, and I just keep a little bit of an eye on that it's going around. And that's the thing, it needs to select a lot of the nodes, and all of a sudden it starts coming back here. Because you never know how some of these designs are built together, so it is hard sometimes to get the right start point and the right end point. So that's why you just have to be a little bit patient and select all your nodes. And as soon as we are there on top, as you can see, we are just about there at the end. Now we will have to go a little bit further because there is also some undersewing on the object, and I can see that it is coming back to the bottom, but I gotta be careful, and I'll zoom in a little bit, and I'm going back to my control again so that I can see better on what nodes it is selecting right now, because it won't be long and it will be going into the center part. So, but it is still working on the undersewing, and it's going all the way to the top. And I'm not worried what's at the top. It is now just coming back onto the bottom here again. And now I'm really careful with the mouse wheel to make sure everything is selected. And there are two nodes. I just noticed it starts working on the inner design. So now I gotta be careful, otherwise I gotta start all over again. Which button I'm pushing? So that is holding down the shift key and click the node and click that node. Now I'm happy with what I got selected, and I will go and go cut, and I will go here and we go and paste, and there you can see now we have that part completely separated out, and I can I have to select it, and I can change the color to whatever color I so desire. And if I'm, and now the leftover piece here from the bottom, I can drag that back into place, make that centerpiece, make that together again. I'm not gonna go and do that all the way. I'll place it roughly that's close enough for now. And then here there were a few little pieces what needed to be placed. Okay, and I can select all those, and now I can go and I'm pushing the fill, and now I can change the color on the centerpiece to whatever I like. Okay, so there you have it on how you can break apart completely a stitch file. I hope this has been informative to you, and let me know what you think, and yeah, give us a response on how helpful these videos are for you. I see there's always quite a few views, but the comments, there's not many comments, so I don't know if these videos are really beneficial to you, but I sure hope so. Okay, thanks for watching and have fun digitizing and take care.